They laughed at her tattoo the moment she stepped onto the training field. It was bold, sprawling across her forearm, a symbol that didn't match the quiet, disciplined image they expected in SEAL training. The mocking grins and whispered comments followed her like shadows. They thought it was a joke, a mistake, a sign that she didn't belong. She felt the weight of every gaze, the sharp sting of their disbelief, but she didn't react. She didn't flinch. She kept her head high, her eyes forward, and her hands steady. Asterisk, what city are you watching from today? If this story resonated with you, hit subscribe for more real stories about extraordinary people. Her name was Lieutenant Mara Hayes. She was young, determined, and unlike anyone they had seen in the training yard. The other candidates were seasoned, muscular, confident in their physicality. Mara was strong, but not in the obvious ways they measured strength. Her endurance, her focus, her mind were sharper than any of them suspected. They didn't know the story behind her tattoo. They didn't know what it represented. The tattoo was a silver eagle with wings outstretched, etched in intricate detail. It wasn't decorative. It wasn't for attention. It marked a truth they would only understand much later. It marked her service, her courage, her sacrifices. But in this moment, all it did was make her the target of ridicule. During the grueling days of SEAL training, she faced the relentless drills and mental challenges that pushed everyone to the edge. The instructors barked orders that tested stamina and spirit, but the peers, the candidates, they tested her too. They mocked the tattoo, sneered at her effort, questioned her strength. Every push-up, every run, every obstacle became a stage for their doubt-dotted night. She lay awake in the barracks, feeling the exhaustion claw at her body. She thought about leaving. She thought about proving them wrong in a way they couldn't ignore. She thought about every failure she had overcome to get here. She thought about the people who had trained her, who had believed in her before anyone else did. And she made a decision. She would endure. She would rise. She would show them day after day. Mara performed beyond expectation. She climbed walls faster, ran longer, carried heavier loads. Yet the laughter never fully faded. In the swimming drills, they smirked at her technique. In the navigation exercises, they whispered that she would get lost. When she lifted more weight than some of them could imagine, they shook their heads, thinking it must be luck. Mara ignored them all. She carried the quiet strength of someone who had faced far worse than their doubts. The real test came on the final day, during the field exercise that separated the ordinary from the exceptional. The commander walked the grounds, inspecting every candidate, every effort. Mara approached the final challenge, her body aching, her mind focused, and the tattoo on her forearm catching the afternoon sun. It shimmered, proud and unwavering. The others noticed it again. They laughed once more, thinking it was a charm, a gimmick. They leaned into their confidence, ready to see her fail. But Mara moved with precision, with strategy, with a calm control that belied the chaos around her. She completed every task flawlessly, handled every obstacle with skill honed through years of preparation, and reached the commander's position without hesitation. He looked at her, a man who had seen countless candidates fall short, countless attempts crumble under pressure. He studied her for a long moment. Then his eyes fell on the tattoo. The corners of his mouth tightened. Without a word, he snapped a salute. It was sharp, respectful, and commanding. In that instant, the mocking smiles faded. The whispers stopped. The disbelief froze on their faces. They realized that this young woman, this candidate they had dismissed, carried the honor, the rank, and the experience of someone who had already earned their place among the elite. The tattoo was not just ink. It was a declaration of service. It was a marker of courage. It was proof that she had endured challenges none of them had ever faced. The laughter turned into stunned silence. The skepticism gave way to respect. Mara stood tall, not just as a candidate, but as a reminder that strength is not always visible, and valor is not always loud. In the aftermath, the other candidates approached her cautiously. Some offered nods of respect. Some remained silent, still processing the lesson she had imparted without a single word. Mara accepted the acknowledgement with grace, knowing that her journey was not about winning approval, but about proving to herself that limits existed only to be surpassed. She carried that moment with her, a quiet victory etched in memory. It was a lesson she would never forget, that judgment is often premature, that appearances can deceive, and that true excellence commands respect whether announced or hidden. The eagle on her arm was no longer a symbol of doubt. It was a symbol of triumph. What did this story make you feel? Where are you watching from? Subscribe to Soul Relief Stories for more real stories that heal the heart.